Doctors are often shaped by their experiences, but it wasn't until my brain crashed that I started to take it seriously and knew I had to make change. I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and I started a natural health practice in order to help you take control of your health naturally, because true health only comes naturally. I also want to mention we're in open enrollment for NutriCore. This is a system of care that helps you get to the root cause of your health problems and take control of your health naturally. I'll put a link in the description below. Now, many of you know I decided to go down the route of natural health as a result of my brother falling victim to medical malpractice. Now, my brother's no longer here with us today as a result of that incident. As I was studying to become a doctor, the other shoe dropped. Becoming a doctor is no easy feat. I mean, in order to accomplish it, you really have to be on your A game. Now, in my first year of graduate school, I started to have a ton of symptoms of poor brain health. I had severe brain fog. My memory turned into that of a goldfish. Then what happened from there is my brain would just burn out after studying for just a short period of time, which is not a good thing to happen when you're trying to get a doctorate degree. You could probably imagine I was taking 24 credit hours. I had multiple board tests coming up. This was a major crisis for me. Now, with my declining cognitive ability, school was becoming unbearable, not to mention the stress was overwhelming. So I went to a doctor and he prescribed either Adderall or Ritalin for me. He said one of these two will work out. Being in a desperate state, I seriously considered both of them. The problem was I looked at the side effects. The side effects were things like nervousness and dizziness, and even long-term side effects of heart attacks or even seizures. And then to take it a step further, it can have a negative, long-lasting impact on your brain. I was like, no way, Jose, this is not happening. So I started to look for other options, alternative options. And it was this struggle of me nearly getting kicked out of the doctorate program because of my health issues that not only set me on a new path, but ultimately launched my career. You know that phrase, hindsight is 20/20? I think it's even more so as a doctor, because there's certain things you just can't understand until you experience them. I started developing a lot of gut issues in my early 20s. I would get a lot of symptoms like bloating. I would get symptoms of IBS, but they weren't that bad, so I would always just put them off. The problem was these symptoms kept getting worse and worse. I started to become very sensitive to all different types of foods. It seemed like every single week I would have some new food that's causing an immune reaction or causing an upset stomach for me. Problem beyond that is I started to develop rashes that would just persist for months, and the bloating and all the different symptoms I was having became worse and worse. I remember waking up one morning and I had severe stomach pain. It was because I was so bloated. Sure, there was some discomfort, but it didn't change my life much, so I pretty much ignored it. And let's face it, there's much bigger fish to fry out there than worrying about some bloating in your stomach, right? But it wasn't until my brain crashed and I was devastated with the idea of having to withdraw from my doctorate program and change my whole career that I started to take it seriously and knew I had to make change. I started going from seminar to seminar, week after week, spending a lot of money, which I did not have, in order to learn everything that I could possibly absorb about natural health. Let's decode this. First, the gut issues. Why I developed all these gut issues? The answer is complex. Maybe it's the years of eating bad food, excessive amounts of grains, eating fruits and vegetables covered with herbicides and pesticides. Maybe it's the countless rounds of antibiotics I was on as a child. Now I know that I actually have some genetic factors that predispose me to having gut issues. The reason I was experiencing rashes at random and crazy immune responses is because I had something called intestinal permeability, or as you may know it, leaky gut. Now, this is when small particles of food make its way across the gut lining into the bloodstream and don't go through the normal digestive process. As a result, every time you eat these foods, the immune system sends a vicious response that can cause a lot of different symptoms. Oh, but that's not all, folks. You know how I said I would have excessive amounts of bloating? Well, that was because I developed something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, aka SIBO. Now, this is when bacteria from the large intestines makes its way into the small intestines, and then you literally become bloated after everything you eat. Eat salad, bloated. Eat cheese, bloated. Literally everything causes you to become bloated. Many people would think of leaky gut and SIBO being very separate issues. The fact is, they often come as a package deal, and they even bring a few other problems along with them, like yeast overgrowth and many other symptoms. So how is this all connected to poor brain health, you might ask? Well, the answer is through the gut-brain axis, of course. Here's the deal. Your brain health strongly hinges on on your gut health. When you have a gut on fire, you almost always have a brain on fire. When I work with all these different patients who have gut issues, they almost always complain about having brain issues. And if they don't tell me they do, I ask, and then they think I'm a wizard, which is pretty cool. But the fact is, I've actually just been there before. Poor cognitive ability, even anxiety and depression are highly correlated with poor gut health. If you go in and try to fix the brain without fixing the gut, it'll almost always end up in a failed treatment. How do I know this? Because this is what I tried to do. When my life really changed is when I took action by using specific lab testing in order to identify exactly what was going on in my gut. I used a stool analysis to determine inflammatory levels in my gut, to look for bacterial overgrowth, to look for things like intestinal permeability. Once I specifically was able to identify these issues, I started focusing on using natural methods to heal the gut lining, to clear out the bad bacteria that shouldn't be in my small intestines, to reseed my gut with proper enzymes and probiotics. Now, as my gut health and my digestion started to improve, I took a turn and started to focus on my brain health. I used things like powerful micronutrients to support the brain's natural ability to detox, high doses of DHA, and many other nutrients that promoted oxygenation to the brain and just overall brain support. I remember as I started to gain momentum and reverse these health issues, my brain turned back on. I couldn't believe my cognitive ability. I was truly shocked. I went from having no memory to super memory. I felt like Brad Cooper from Limitless.
I was blind, but now I see.
As these health issues creep in and your mental ability declines and your physical ability and your gut health and everything starts to decline, you don't see it happening. But then when you finally flip that switch and everything turns back on, it is the most eye-opening thing you could ever imagine. I literally went from struggling in school with the potential of quitting to getting a scholarship. So why am I telling you all this? Well, because I know that there's so many people that are out there with their health in a really bad place. And when this happens, it causes you to give up on your dreams and your goals. But yet you persist, doing the best that you can. But the truth is there's always answers. And these answers come in the way of natural health, not in the way of pharmaceuticals like this doctor wanted me to take, Adderall, Ritalin. Are you kidding me? You have the power to transform your health. All you need is the right strategies, the will to change, and your future will be limitless. I'll put resources in the description below so you can learn more about what I use. The key to unlocking amazing gut health lies within this playlist right here. These different gut health issues are going to determine your neurological health and your overall well-being of your entire body. And so we have to make sure we take it seriously.